frozen ground.
Evan Scruggs kicks through the end zone, and with that, we get our first look at the experienced quarterback that is E.J. Warner. This is a guy who is about 7 yards away from 9,000 career passing yards. He's the active FBS passing leader.
Wow.
And he spent last season at Rice, his first 2 years at Temple. He is the son of NFL Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, so he has been well-schooled since he's come out of the womb. There's no doubt about that. Play action on the first play of the game. Warner taking a shot deep, has a man, had to adjust, broken up at the very last minute. It was Chance Gamble getting a hand on it. Ball was a bit underthrown.
Was a bit underthrown. Ezekiel Avit had to slow down, kind of kill his motor to try to keep up with it. There's the Fresno State offensive line. Jacob Spomer, the captain, senior at center, a great returner for them. Bryson Donaldson, their running back, who really is the key for E.J. Warner's success in all 4 quarters of this game. They don't need him in 3rd and long, and they need the running back to remedy that.
Working out of the shotgun, quick pass, complete over the middle to Josiah Freeman. A couple of yards shy of picking up the first down as we take a look at this Georgia Southern defense. A lot of experience on the defensive side of the ball. Latrell Bullard, keep your eye on him up front. He's been there for 4 years. A lot of other bigger schools came after him, stayed loyal, stayed there with Georgia Southern. And linebacking core, very tough. Couple of new guys, Brendan and Brandon, and then in the defensive backfield, some experience as well. Aiden Jackson at nickel, keep an eye on him. He's a talented junior. 3rd and 3 for Fresno State. Warner going to the air again, complete for the first down. Ezekiel Avit picking it up for the Bulldogs.
Big-bodied guy, and this is the 2nd time they've targeted him. 6'2", 194, transfer from Maryland. They create a mismatch by running him in motion and getting him in front of Jaden Davis. Nicely delivered, and 3 straight passes for a Matt Entz team to open up a drive at home a little bit different.
And that one went for 17. Fresh set of downs for Warner and this offense. And wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage is Donaldson. Nice play by Jacob Ferguson from his defensive end spot.
So many of these guys at Georgia Southern have a lot of experience, and you just notice it in every level of the defense and offense. A 6th-year guy in Ferguson. Davion Rhodes on the other side, a redshirt senior.
Good start for Warner, 2 of 3 so far. And again, over the middle. This time it's Jayon Farrar. Making it look easy.
Farrar, 2 JCs. And now at Fresno State, very nicely done by E.J. Warner. Looks like he's very comfortable in the pocket delivering the football tonight thus far. He's been pretty clean, other than that first throw that was a little underthrown where they tried to really stretch the field with a V.
Here's Donaldson again, met right away in the backfield. Davion Rhodes wearing number 0. He's normally 91. Every game, there's a different player who's going to be wearing 0. This time it's Rhodes, P.
Excuse me, right here, there he is. Coming up top, and he goes unblocked. The Polar just can't get to him in time. Edward Fanua, a little slow pulling around. Rhodes gets up the field and gets to the feet of Donaldson before he can get going, and that's going to be important because with some momentum, Donaldson can really punish you. Over 200-pound, very physical back.
Warner to throw on 2nd and 9. Here's Freeman about 2 yards shy of the first down. Jaden Davis on the stop. So we're talking about that number 0 for Davion Rhodes. Why is he wearing 0? Well, Clay Helton awards it to a player every game who's kind of the ultimate teammate. And the 0 stands for zero accountability issues. We don't have to worry about this guy.
Oh, I could never wear that number.
No, you definitely could. Not these days.
Special number. His nickname is Chewy, Coach Helton told us. Like Chewbacca.
Let's see what Chewy can do here on 3rd and 3. Warner dumps it off. Trying to fight for the first down is Elijah Gilliam, but he's not going to get there, so that brings up 4th down for the Bulldogs.
They go 4 deep at running back, but they really want to get Donaldson going. Elijah Gilliam, pretty big guy, doing a good job of catching that ball and trying to get to the stick. They look like they're in 4-down territory here as E.J. Warner staying on the field.
Things started really well against Kansas. Had a great opening drive. Did E.J. Warner 5 of 5 for 81 yards and a touchdown. And he's looking like he's in a flow here tonight in the Bulldogs' first drive.
Yeah, he is.
And there it is, picking up the first down. That's a V.
Seems like a lot of free access to the edge. Warner's really able to get the ball out to the perimeter, whether it's to Avit or Freeman. He is not pressured, able to step into those throws. Another completion on the 4th down. First down for the Bulldogs, and they look great on this drive.
Yeah, one of the things the coaches talked about in our meetings with them, Josh Davis said, we just need better communication up front. Too many times in that Kansas game, we tried to audible, and the offensive line wasn't trusting the call. And so far here tonight, 9 plays, 46 yards on that drive. It looks like the communication has improved. Warner letting it rip one more time, and that's another first down for the Bulldogs. Nice concentration and catch by Freeman once again.
And as long as that's there, out on the perimeter, they're going to take it. They are not being shy about calling pass plays. Matt Entz, usually a guy that likes to get behind the 3-point stance and really fire at you like a missile. This has been a departure, throwing the ball to the perimeter very successfully, chipping their way down the field.
Donaldson in at running back. Motion man is Jake Tarwater. Here's Donaldson with some room right up the middle. Keeps his feet inside the 10-yard line.
They have some big tight ends. Tarwater, 257. You're going to see him go in motion and then lead through. And Donaldson does a very good job getting behind him as the lead blocker. And he does a great job of finding somebody to put a body on. Nice run. And that is the Fresno State that I know and love, running the football between the tackles.
8-yard gain sets up 2nd and 2. Donaldson, a true sophomore. Limited action as a freshman. And little jet sweep is sniffed out right away. It's Davion Rhodes once again.
Rhodes is getting a really good jump on the snap, and he's getting in the backfield quickly. You see him right there. He's unblocked. They're trying to fool him. Nobody was being fooled. That is the most questionable play call of the drive, trying to get to that perimeter. Huge negative play, creating a 3rd and 10, and Davion Rhodes been out there for a while in the heat in this first drive, but he's having a good drive.
So 3rd and 10, this is what they were trying to avoid. They had a lot of these 3rd and long situations in their opener against Kansas. Quick throw by Warner. And doesn't look like Cameron Beecham's anywhere close if he held on to that one to pick it up the first down.
Well, you know a Matt Entz team is going to have multiple tight ends. They go 3 deep with Richie Anderson, Cameron Beecham, and Tarwater. That one was short anyway. Maybe they're trying to get into 4-down territory again, but doesn't matter. Incomplete pass. And all that for the field goal.
And on comes Dylan Lynch. The senior from Liberty High School in Bakersfield. From 36 yards out. It is up and it is good. The Bulldogs on the board first here at home in the heat. 3-0 Fresno State. Welcome back to Fresno. Fresno State gets a field goal on their first drive of the game, up 3-0. So they start with a great first drive in their opener at Kansas, a good first drive here at home, 14 plays, ate up almost 7.5 minutes of clock, resulting in that Dylan Lynch field goal, who will kick off for the Bulldogs. Dalen Cobb is deep for Georgia Southern. And that one sails through the end zone. And here comes J.C. French, the fourth, and this Georgia Southern offense. They move fast, and French, with a year under his belt, a lot more comfortable this time around. He had a solid year last year, ended in a 4-interception game in the New Orleans Bowl. He pulled Clay Helton aside after that and said, this will never happen again. And he has worked his tail off in the offseason, got his body right, down 8% body fat, and focused on nothing but football as they keep it on the ground here with O.J. Arnold to start things off, and that's a nice run. As we take a look at this Georgia Southern lineup, Caleb Cook, a talented offensive lineman at right guard, allowed exactly 0 sacks last year and 800 snaps. He's one of 3 returning starters. Josh Dallas, the straw that stirs the drink in the receiving corps. He's a captain as well. But they have a couple burners on the outside. And Dallas from Sharpsburg, Georgia, is the one they'll be looking at often.
Physical run by O.J. Arnold negated by a holding penalty. Georgia Southern now 1st and 20.
Trying to squeeze it in there, and J.C. French is unable to do so.
We always expect Fresno's defense to be mean. Jason Jacks, a returning player, a starter that they need on that edge. Jaden Pearson, just speedy, was all over the field in Lawrence, Kansas, sideline to sideline. And now Zillian Hamilton, a corner that has a great chance to play on Sundays and a big-time leader for Nick Benedetto's defense.
Keeping it on the ground on 2nd and 20. Arnold picks up about 7.
Cameron Braca, the big safety, got his head in there. Real leader and strong safety. O.J. Arnold, a good-looking back. He is their most experienced back, but they will play about 4 different guys in this game. Both teams want to roll those guys through, especially given the heat here in the Green Valley tonight.
100 degrees at kickoff in Fresno. 3rd and 13. Badinga in a running back. French lets it go quickly. Trying to make a couple of moves is Dallas, and that's not going to do it. So Fresno's defense answers the call right out of the gate, forcing a punt from Georgia Southern. So much for the California hospitality for their first visit.
Yeah, that holding penalty set him back because the first run by O.J. Arnold was beautiful. Josh Dallas with a nice move trying to get away, but just too much pursuit. Jaden Pearson in the area, and the Eagles got a kick.
This is Alex Smith, the Aussie punter. The left-footed kick. Fielded at the 25-yard line, and there is some room out past the 50-yard line. And Jordan Malaulu with a big play for Fresno State, exactly what the doctor ordered. A 50. Well, anytime you get a return like that, you got to feel pretty good about it, especially at home. And after what they went through last week, every positive play just builds the confidence, builds some momentum here for this Bulldog offense, and keeping it on the ground with Bryson Donaldson.
See if they can get him established after the nice return by Malaulu. Donaldson into the line of scrimmage there. Brandon Tyson transfer out of Elon, who's been very good making the tackle there. Very interesting approach. You would think that Fresno State would come out and immediately establish that offensive line and that run in this heat. Instead, they established the perimeter passing game, and E.J. Warner was very sharp. We'll see how that changes here as they're threatening in the red zone.
Warner's already thrown 10 times. This is 11, and it's dropped by Donaldson. Lucky that wasn't picked off.
Yeah, tough situation for Donaldson there. E.J. Warner knows that's a back, and you expect a wide receiver out in the flat to be able to make that catch, but this ball is a little bit behind him. He's got Rhodes in his face, and that could be why. But Donaldson having to turn around to get that is a lot to ask a back who's just trying to rear up and run forward.
So the drop pass brings up 3rd and 7 for the Bulldogs. Ball sitting on the 17. Rayshawn Luke in at running back, has a hole. Rayshawn Luke, Bulldog touchdown. 17-yard touchdown run for Rayshawn Luke.
They've been waiting to see that for a long time. Superstar high school athlete Rayshawn Luke out of St. John Bosco, then Arizona. Literally one of the fastest guys in college football, as you see Rhodes right at the mesh point, but Luke way too fast through the contact zone. You see that acceleration, and it's great to see that speed finally in action for Fresno State, getting more and more carries. Rayshawn Luke with the touchdown.
Extra point up and good. 10-0 Fresno State thanks to Rayshawn Luke. The nickname is Speedy, and you can see why. He also got a little help with this tremendous return. Fresno on the board. Nice start for Fresno State, up 10-0. Jordan Malaulu with a 54-yard punt return sets up the Rayshawn Luke touchdown run, and they call him Speedy for a reason. You can see why.
Yeah, really good complimentary football by Coach Entz's Bulldogs. They come out throwing the ball well, can't score a touchdown, get a field goal. They get a stop, they have a big punt return, and then they're able to exploit their run game and get the touchdown. Looking good early in the heat.
Dalen Cobb going to let that kick go once again. Let's see what Georgia Southern can do here to answer the call.
I think what they'll want to do is go back to O.J. Arnold. He looked really good running the ball on his first couple of carries. Unfortunately, a holding penalty on that first play is really what set Georgia Southern back and forced the punt. I think they could have had a more sustained drive. There he is, O.J. Arnold, the senior out of Quitman, Georgia. 5'9", 195 pounds, but runs a lot more physical than that.
Quick pass by French, picks up the first down. It's Camden Brown, the transfer from Auburn, has had a great camp.
Yeah, they thought he was a hidden gem. There are a lot of limited tape on this guy. 6'2", 200 pounds, good size. Right there, good throw by French.
Uh-oh, a little trickeration. Kind of lost his footing for a minute to Dalen Cobb. And
the very rare reverse pass screen. It just did not work. You thought he was going to go way down the field. There's the reverse, double reverse, back to French, and he throws it out to the edge. And the blocks are not set up. Great job staying home and not being fooled by Simeon Harris, the transfer out of Utah State.
Nick Benedetto told us he needed his corners to stay at home. Knew they're going to run some RPOs. Pass is complete. That picks up 4, maybe 5. It's Camden Brown hauling it in.
That's Brown versus Alzillian Hamilton. AZ Hamilton, pretty good matchup. Hamilton, a very good corner. Nice break on the ball. Solid tackle.
Looks like Arnold might be, or French might be calling an audible here. Arnold by his side on 3rd and 11. Plenty of time for French. First down, Georgia Southern delivers a strike to Marcus Sanders Jr.
And they are getting a lot of receivers involved. Cobb, Dallas, Sanders, Brown. He just runs a little in route there. Well anticipated by French, and they're going fast.
Yes, they are. Little tempo here, and he's very close to picking up another first down before Finn Claypool forces him out of bounds. Cameron Braca there as well defensively for Fresno State.
Like you said, he changed his body, got lighter, looking good running the ball. Nice quick decision, and they're playing fast, trying to take advantage of this heat.
First down after the 10-yard run by French. And we have an official's timeout. Maybe they're taking a look at it. Sorting things out here in Fresno. J.C. French is really trying to pick up where he left off before that bowl game last year. And it's going to be 2nd and 1, as they say he picked up 9, not 10. And this is definitely going to be a first down. O.J. Arnold puts the shoulder down. Good shoulder lean, as they say, Petros.
Oh, beautiful. And look at how he finished that run, running right over the starting safety, Ethan Tierney. You want to finish with that guy on his back, and then they're right back to the line of scrimmage.
This time it's Arnold trying to pick his way through that Fresno State defense. He picks up 3 or 4.
Georgia Southern is not a finesse football team. They have a lot of weapons and can spread you out, but Clay Helton's always been a guy who loves power football. He's always called the power God's play and said that God only wants 4 yards. It's one of his long-time adages, and they're coming out and showing that a little bit with O.J. Arnold. Nice physical response after Fresno State goes up 10.
French taking a shot this time into the end zone. Got him! Camden Brown was wide open in the corner, and the Eagles are on the board after the 18-yard touchdown pass.
Well, I think a lot of the tempo set Fresno State's defense a little bit on their heels. They run a combo route, and there is confusion with Braca, who lets him by. And Brown is there to receive that ball and get the 1 foot that is necessary in for the touchdown in college. And a really great response by the Georgia Southern Eagles after getting down early here in the Valley.
And the extra point is good to cap the 8-play, 75-yard scoring drive for Georgia Southern. Now they're starting to click a little bit in the heat here in the Central Valley.
Georgia Southern with the answer for Fresno. Now check out Dallas. He's coming in motion, and that's going to make Braca very concerned. Dallas is a captain, a great receiver. He comes in motion. Everybody's staring at him, and that is what allows Camden Brown to get behind the safeties and French to drop it in there very easily into that honey hole for the Georgia Southern touchdown. Well-designed play, getting the eyes of Cameron Braca out of whack for the touchdown.
And for Camden Brown, who caught that touchdown, his first career touchdown at Georgia Southern. We have a ball game here in the heat, ladies and gentlemen, 10-7, just over a minute left in the first quarter.
Things are getting tighter in the 5-5-9, and if Fresno State is going to have success on offense, it's going to be these two guys, E.J. Warner and Bryson Donaldson. Some great creativity early against Kansas as he flips it out to Donaldson and he goes down the sideline. He really is a very sharp quarterback who sees the field beautifully.
Off the play action, broken up over the middle, intended for Josiah Freeman. Look at the numbers on the first couple of possessions, both scoring drives for the Bulldogs. And E.J. Warner was just trying to squeeze that one into a very small window.
And they're not afraid to call pass plays on first down. They're trying to keep the Eagles a little bit off balance. And really depending on E.J.'s arm to establish them early in series.
Four-man rush, dumps it off to Donaldson. Donaldson has some room, picks up the first down. Well-designed play there.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to go further, but Tracy Hill Jr., one of those long, rangy corners, comes and makes the play. Look at that convoy that he's got. Really well thrown by E.J. Warner. You see he kind of floats it up there to get it over the arms of the defender, drops it into the hands of Donaldson and lets him work down the field. Good enough for the first down, but I thought it could have gone for more.
You're right, that was a nice play by Tracy Hill. Pressure coming on Warner. He eludes one. Oh, Warner with the interception, picked off by Brandon Tyson, the linebacker. He just kind of let it hang up there when the pressure came, and Tyson made him pay. It was M.J. Stroud, the defensive end, who brought the pressure.
Yeah, just a little bit too much wiggle for Warner. He does really well to elude the rush there early, and he's pushing back up, but an ill-advised throw, trying to get it across the field to Avit, and Tyson is right there to have it drop in his lap. Great job there eluding the rush. Not so great anticipating that throw by E.J. Warner.
So Georgia Southern, you've seen the offense. It is fast-paced, it is quick, it is hurry up. Clay Helton switched from kind of an option to a spread passing attack in 2022, and they've averaged over 30 points and 400 yards per game since. Here's Arnold using his blockers, patient running, picks up 5. That could have been a loss of yardage, but he just kind of gave it a minute.
Yeah, he's a tough runner, and he's doing a great job of fighting through tackles. Fresno State known as a very good, vicious tackling team over the years, all the way back to the Pat Hill days and before that, Sweeney days.
The Eagles are marching against Fresno after the E.J. Warner turnover, trying to make him pay, down by 3 as the first quarter comes to a close. Second quarter's coming up right after this.
I wash my hair and I kid myself, I look real smooth.
Clay Helton's troops down by 3 as we are set to start the second quarter. They have the ball in good position here as we take a look at the numbers. Relatively even, minus the turnover from E.J. Warner, and you can see he's still with himself on the sideline.
Got to bounce back emotionally. Had some trouble with that last week in Kansas.
Pressure coming. And French got absolutely whacked. Incredible, he got that ball off, and Camden Brown picked up the first down.
How about the transfer from Auburn after the touchdown, now being featured early the first half of this game? Coming right down the chute, very aggressive blitz call from Tim Thomas, and that draws the flag.
Yeah, I think it could draw more than that.
A 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. The previous play is under further review.
We're going to take a look at it. Remember, he is a passer, so he's defenseless. So any hits around the head or neck area, even if he doesn't lead with the crown of his head, is probably going to result in the ejection or disqualification.
Did look like it was the crown and the head and neck area, so kind of a double whammy.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, he lowered the head on the crown, and you don't even have to do that with the passer because he's considered defenseless. And that is going to be maybe it for Tim Thomas out of Stockton, California, the junior. But Dino Blandino knows better than any of us. Am I getting it right, Dean?
You are in mid-season form, Petros. I mean, you nailed it. So you got a defenseless player, and you're going to see the defender come in, lead with the head. He makes forcible contact to the head neck, so it doesn't even have to be the crown here. Looked like it might have been the crown as well, but this is targeting. A good call on the field, and this should be upheld in terms of the disqualification.
All right, Dean, thank you very much. And it certainly looked like that from the jump. Pretty impressive the French was able to get that off and get the completion.
He's a tough guy, and, you know, that's what you have. And guys like E.J. Warner and J.C. French, guys that are going to hang in there and try their best to make plays. We saw some very elaborate blitzes from Nick Benedetto's defense in Kansas, and they certainly like to rush that A-gap and get after the quarterback. I don't think Tim Thomas was being malicious just from my naked eyes view, but certainly the letter of the law says that he's going to be out.
After further review, replay confirmed the call on targeting. Fresno State number 26 is disqualified from the game.
Tough break for Tim Thomas, but that was kind of a no-brainer after seeing the hit. As we have focused and talked about targeting for so long, here's a look at the exact letter of the law here, lowering the head to attack with forcible contact against an opponent with the crown of the helmet. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, they've policed this in a way that they're teaching the game differently, and we see less and less. Dean can tell you, and so can Mike. We see less and less of these calls every week as the game evolves.
And another first down as Josh Dallas hauls it in, makes the catch, and picks up the first.
Josh Dallas does it all. Son of a coach. They like to get him the ball in space and let him create. Done this a couple times already. Not afraid to take it to those safeties. Really good forward lean when he gets the ball in his hands. Body comes alive when he makes that catch. Here he comes in motion again.
8 straight completions for French. Here's Dallas on the ground, hurdles one man, and then he is met while he is in the air by Kavion Thunderbird.
Bringing the thunder there. Now you're a wide receiver. Here you are taking a handoff, and it looks like they're pulling people around, and he leaves his feet at the line of scrimmage. Not a great idea when you got linebackers that are bearing down on you like that. A big hit from the Thunderbird, and they want to see more of that from him, driving people back. Certainly did it there to Dallas.
French to Dallas again. And he picks up 4. It's Thunderbird one more time on the tackle. He's been all over the field.
Yeah, runs him down again. They fake to Dallas and then end up throwing the ball. Nice creative play call by Ryan Alpin, the offensive coordinator. But Thunderbird really sticks with the play, makes the tackle.
3rd and 6 here for Georgia Southern. Big play.
Big moment here for Fresno to bow their necks. They've been making mistakes here.
Gonna keep it on the ground, and O.J. Arnold picks up the first for the Eagles.
Good physical running we've seen from O.J. Arnold. He's also shown some good patience, really understands the blocking scheme there. Gets behind Caleb Cook, the guard, and exploits the hole. Good forward lean for the first down. Georgia Southern starting to take control of this game.
A chance to take the lead here on 1st and goal. Play clock winding down. And it looks like it ran out on him.
You can't have that with a captain, veteran quarterback at a 1st and goal situation.
Georgia Southern will take their first charge time out of the half.
Oh, they got a timeout. All right, we're back after this. Georgia Southern on the move. The IndyCar Series rolls into Nashville for the season finale, where Alex Palou looking to cap his historic campaign. That's tomorrow at 2 Eastern on Fox. New quarterback in. This is Weston Bryant. This is their short yardage specialist at quarterback. Think Tim Tebow back in the day. He weighs 250 pounds. Ooh, he's a load.
Yeah, just a freshman, was a state heavyweight wrestling champ at 215 pounds. Now weighs 250. Tim Tebow style when he was a freshman, or the old belldozer. He goes right into Corey Foreman and leans forward for a good gain, and you can see they're excited to see the young man on the sideline. He is a big horse. And French is back on the field. Starting quarterbacks who are captains don't love coming off the field, even for a gigantic belldozer type.
Well, especially when you're in the red zone.
Exactly.
It's always nice when you can throw a touchdown pass. You know what I mean? Fresno State calling a timeout here. And you mentioned it, back in the day, Clay Helton was a different type of coach, right? He liked to run the ball. 4 yards was a great gain, and he's changed things since he got to Georgia State. It's the spread passing attack, it's tempo, and it's slinging the ball over the yard.
He always talks about running the football, but you're absolutely right. When you got a quarterback like J.C. French and Dallas and Cobb and Brown, they've done a good job throwing the ball to set up the run, but I have been very, very impressed with O.J. Arnold running the ball thus far in this game. And of course, both these guys with a great connection to the University of Southern California.
Yeah, Matt Entz came over from North Dakota State, spent last year with Lincoln Riley, just 1 year, and he said it was the biggest adjustment of his life, right? Because he had been in the Dakotas for most of his life, just living in California, learning something new, not being a head coach, and he learned a lot. He learned a lot about how they dealt with NIL. He learned a lot about how a program of that size operates. He also learned that he wanted to be a head coach again, and when the opportunity came about in Fresno, it was a no-brainer. French fakes the handoff, rolls out to the right back of the end zone, and overthrows the intended receiver that was River Helms.
Clay Helton came to USC as an assistant. A lot of people connect him with Pete Carroll. He never coached with Pete Carroll. He came in when Lane Kiffin was hired and kind of hung around through the Ed Ogeron interim, the Steve Sarkisian moments, and then became the head coach. Ended up winning a Rose Bowl and winning a Pac-12 championship. Of course, had Sam Darnold, had a lot of success at USC before he moved on to Georgia Southern. And USC brought in Lincoln Riley.
3rd and goal for Helton's offense. French rolling out. Touchdown, Eagles. River Helms.
River Helms is a transfer from Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, where Clay Helton's brother, Tyson Helton, coaches. And just very nice play action there, bringing the tight end across. Hamilton is, Embry is late to it. Simeon Harris also late to the play, and French with a nicely orchestrated drive there, throwing the ball down the field.
Trip Bryant on for the extra point for the Eagles, as we are waiting to get things going.
Georgia Southern taking control of this game.
Trip Bryant, the first true freshman to start at kicker since Britton Williams in 2021. So all of a sudden, Georgia Southern finding their groove in the Central Valley. This time it's River Helms scoring the touchdown. 4-point lead for the Eagles. River Helms, who just scored that touchdown, getting his pads worked on. It is 100 degrees, so maybe he just wanted to cool down a little bit.
I'd take them off too. Both quarterbacks have been slinging it around. You could say that both these teams pass happy to start this one out. 14 attempts for Warner, 12 for French. And you see the yards. 2 touchdowns for French is the difference. And the bad pick from E.J. Warner that he's going to have to emotionally overcome on this drive. Big drive for the Bulldogs to try to answer and restore some order here at home.
Right at the 20-yard line, it's Luke breaking a tackle, and he gets out to the 25. Flags flying. Wait to find out what that is.
During the return, holding, Fresno State, number 36, 13-yard penalty for the small the foul. First down.
So they're going to move him back a little bit. And that's a familiar face right there. Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, his wife Brenda looking on as...
Yeah, I'm used to just seeing her in the stands and him playing, remember?
Oh, absolutely.
Before we had Taylor Swift cutaways, we had Brenda Warner cutaways.
Wow, he's had a movie made about him.
I know.
Oh.
When he was like a supermarket checker, playing arena ball.
2 kids who played in college. One was a wide receiver, and EJ's still going as a quarterback, just like his old man, getting a little help from his running back here. Bryson Donaldson going. Huge hole for Donaldson, and that's exactly what Fresno State needed, but there's a flag after the 31-yard gain.
Yeah, I think a little aggression on the sideline at the end of the play is going to go against Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern, number 17.
Jaden Davis, a little too physical, pulling on that leg of Donaldson. But what a run by Donaldson. Shades of what we saw on that first drive against Kansas when Warner flipped it to him. But just a nice looking play right down the center. He switches the ball at the end to protect it, and there's the penalty there. Sort of a WWE looking style move there at the end, like the DDT with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Here he is again with more room, this time around the left side. Donaldson inside the 20-yard line, dragged down around the 15 by Justin Myers.
And this is, to me, the best offensive weapon that Fresno State has. It's Donaldson, because he can run inside, dip inside, and then pop right back out. Great job getting behind the block of tight end Richie Anderson III. And he's got some good breakaway speed down the field to make a 7-8 yard run, more of like a 20-yard run. Good job by Myers coming in and cleaning that up, or it was going to go further.
21 to be exact on that last run for Bryson Donaldson. Give it to him again.
That's tough.
Man is on fire.
Now you might have to come out now if you're Donaldson and get Rayshawn Luke. Let's see how, I mean, this guy's got a motor. He's had 2 long runs and then a 3rd solid run, creating a 2nd and short situation, and they are going to bring him out. Walter Payton would have come out, but it's a different world for running backs. You get 3 chunk runs there like that, you got to come out and get some water.
Again, can't say it enough. 100 degrees at kickoff, too.
They got Rayshawn Luke, who had the touchdown earlier, the speedster.
Here's Luke trying to turn the corner, uses the stiff arm, tight ropes the sidelines, and forced out of bounds. And we do have a flag as well.
Man, you see that speed. Did he bounce to the edge on Tracy Hill or what? He's feeling it tonight. Flag came pretty quick, though.
It did.
This would be the 2nd penalty of this drive for Fresno State. Remember, they got one on the kickoff return.
Holding. Defense.
Oh.
Number 93. That throw is declined. Result of the play.
Caleb Moore called for defensive holding.
Yeah, they got the Southern Miss transfer who's been holding down the interior. There he is right here. Working against the freshman Braden Walton and hanging on. Luke with some serious speed to the edge, but steps out of bounds before he could dive for the end zone. There's big Caleb Moore out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Maybe he was Brett Favre's neighbor.
Donaldson checking back into the ball game for the Bulldogs. It's not a big play, so certainly possible. Here's Donaldson. That defense was waiting. Looks like the ball's out and down. And the whistles are blown. MJ Stroud and Davion Rhodes were there. It was Rhodes who picked the ball up. And
yeah.
I think that ball was out, P.
It's out. Donaldson fumbled that. They tried to bring 2 tight ends across and get him underneath the 2 tight ends. Clay Helton saying, go ahead and score, just to make sure, to Davion Rhodes. Donaldson taking a big hit before he could get underneath. See him try to get underneath those two blockers, but they cannot get to MJ Stroud, who does a really knifing-like motion into the backfield and causes that fumble. Look at 18 get his helmet right on the ball. When did that ball come out? Either way, it looks like Rhodes was on his knees when he picked it up. So Clay Helton made him run 100 yards for nothing.
It looked like it came out as soon as he got hit when initial contact was made, and it bounced off Stroud's helmet. Watch this. Boom.
Yeah, right there. And that is very tough. If you're Donaldson, the second you receive the ball, he is not known as a fumbler, but you receive the ball and somebody is heads up enough like Stroud to put a hat right on it.
What a massive break for Georgia Southern.
After a great answering drive by Fresno State that they could not finish.
But it was a break that they created. Deep in their own territory. That's Arnold, who's met at the line of scrimmage by a slew of Fresno State defenders.
Fresno State did get a little bit of a blow on the sideline, if there's such a thing, in 100-degree heat, while their offense marched down the field there, and they have a little bit better field position situation, but tough to overcome the mistakes. If you're Fresno State at home in this first half, Matt Ent's not going to be happy.
Fresno bringing the pressure. French just has to pull it down. He's back out to the 2-yard line. That's going to go in the books as a loss of 1. Ethan Tierney, the safety, is the guy that was the first man there.
Yeah, I was having a lot of fun watching Nick Benedetto's blitz packages against Kansas. This time he really loads up the box, like you said. And French knows he's got nowhere to go and just tucks it and eats it as the Bulldogs swarm. Big third down. Let's see if Fresno State can get out of this.
Dallas in motion once again. 3rd and 10. Going to be conservative and keep it on the ground with O.J. Arnold. Fights his way out to about the 8-yard line. Kavion Thunderbird on the stop, brings up 4th down for Georgia Southern. So not able to take advantage of that turnover.
They would have liked to get a couple of first downs and at least flip the field there, but Fresno State coming out defensively, being aggressive with the splits call, creating some adverse conditions for French and forcing a punt to minimize the damage of the turnover. Still stings, though, if you're a Bulldog fan.
Malaulu calls for the fair catch at the 48-yard line. And Fresno State, pretty good field position. How about Shakira playing at the stadium earlier this summer? I think this was a couple weeks ago, August 7th.
That's the first ever concert here. I mean, I can't imagine that Merle Haggard or something is not played. But here is Shakira, the Colombiana. A great moment.
Children's Stadium was rocking with Shakira. Merle Haggard was your poll. I mean, you couldn't go Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg? Yeah,
Merle Haggard.
Talking about the Green V, brother. There's farms up there.
Here's Donaldson. Nice little jump step. Check that, Rayshon Luke. And he is slippery.
I don't know what you got against the Hag, but yes, he is slippery. Great job by Chance Gamble coming up and getting to his legs. If you got a guy that fast, it is frightening to get to his legs because he can jump over you. There is the big Green V representing the Green Valley.
The Valley.
And the produce and all of the food that feeds so much of the world that comes out of the San Joaquin Valley. The Green V invented by Pat Hill, the great Fresno State coach who's still very much around this program.
Warner goes to the air, finds his man, Richie Anderson, hauls it in, the big tight end. And you brought up Pat Hill. You know, he's still around all the time.
Oh, yeah, he broadcasts, he grows his mustache, he works with the scout offensive line. He's a great inspiration for everybody involved with this program, and Matt Entz loves having him around. That was a nice calm down throw by E.J. Warner, getting it to the tight end. Let's see if he can get his confidence back a little bit. Or maybe they can start depending on Donaldson again, who had a great drive before the fumble, and hard to blame him for that fumble with the hat right on the ball in the backfield.
Warner going to throw again, 5-man rush. Going down the left sideline, and he's picked off again. This time it's Chance Gamble, second interception of the game for Warner.
He's trying to get the ball to his big receiver, Josiah Freeman, who's a big physical guy, 6'3", and maybe he can get up and get it, but Chance Gamble is 6'2", and he had a different idea.
Yeah, big corners for Georgia Southern, and he climbed the ladder there.
The hips don't lie.
Welcome back to Fresno. Self-inflicted wounds are just killing Fresno State. Their last 3 drives have all ended in turnovers. E.J. Warner with his second interception of the game. Chance Gamble picked it off. And now he puts his offense in a situation where they have to march 99 yards down the field.
Backed up again.
David Badinga taken down by Dejan Lafitte.
Nice job by Lafitte right at the line of scrimmage, making that tackle, a USC transfer, second year in the Valley. And that's our first real look at David Badinga.
He's their change of pace back. French fakes the handoff to Badinga and gets it out to Marcus Sanders Jr. And Petros, in case you were wondering, it is cooling down a little bit. It's now just a balmy 95 out.
Well, it's better than nothing. As the sun goes down, the temperature will drop, but this is still a really tough one, and we haven't seen a lot of cramping. Both teams have been playing hard. The crowd, troopers, a lot of hand fans we see. A lot of tank tops.
A lot of green V's. 3rd and 2. Keeping it on the ground. First down. Josh Dallas from his wide receiver spot takes the handoff. Last time he did that, he got popped. This time he puts his head down and picks up the first.
How about that? They motion him all the way into a reverse bone look in the backfield. Have him follow River Helms, the tight end, and a nice physical finish by the wide receiver, Josh Dallas. Last time he carried, you said he left his feet and got blown up. First down, though, Georgia Southern.
French to throw, swings it out over to Badinga, but it skips off the turf. I believe that was tipped at the line.
Fresno State's going to have a lot to discuss at halftime as far as self-inflicted wounds and inconsistency offensively. A lot like last week, after a good opening drive, they start to let self-doubt creep in, and Matt Entz has got his work cut out for him.
Well, 3 straight drives with turnovers. Georgia Southern looking to make them pay here. And it is zipped in for the completion. Josh Dallas, after picking up the first down running the ball, picks up a first down here on the catch.
That guy just keeps on coming, doesn't he? He does it all, moves around a lot, taking big hits and popping up. Nice throw, too.
Just a little late, and this time it's a Fresno State interception. Ryan Wilson picks off the tip ball. So French tried to squeeze it in there. Pass was broken up, and Wilson with the pick.
We've seen a couple balls pop up, but nobody in the area. This time, Wilson, with his head on a swivel, that he really did try to fit it in there. And it was a nice job by Jaden Davis, forcing the play, getting his hand in there, and Wilson running under that, concentrating, and getting some good feelings going back for the Bulldogs.
Nice job on the tip drill by Wilson, and Jaden Davis, one of the few who have been there for 4 years in Fresno, and Keeping it on the ground with Donaldson are the Bulldogs.
Under 4 minutes left. Fresno's really got to try to find some consistency offensively, try to get some confidence back in the arm and the body language of E.J. Warner. And it feels like Bryson Donaldson is their best bet to do that. We've seen Avit early in this game with some good plays. They want to get Josiah Freeman as well going at the wide receiver position, and just hasn't all come together ever since that first drive.
Warner did a nice job of spreading the ball around against Kansas. Hit 11 different receivers. Has hit 6 so far here tonight. And that's Avit one more time, who's going to be just shy of picking up the first down.
And Avit is a nice complement to Freeman on the other side. 6'2" and 6'3". Really good options for Warner to get the ball to, and physical after the catch, setting up a third, and very manageable as we have a cramped player there. And that's
second down. The NFL regular season kicks off on Fox September 7th as the Giants take on the reigning Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, or the Niners take on the Seahawks or other regional action. The NFL is back, folks, September 7th on Fox. There have been a few NFL quarterbacks that come out of Fresno State. Trent Dilfer, of course, won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. David Carr, #1 overall draft pick. Little brother Derek, recently retired. Now he's trying to steal our jobs, Petros. And then Jake Haener, of course, had a great career at Fresno State.
He really did under Jeff Tedford and Kalen DeBoer, now with the New Orleans Saints.
3rd and 1 for the Bulldogs. Direct snap to Donaldson, and he picks up the first down.
Been a really good half for Donaldson. That was a nice play there, just getting his back to the line of scrimmage and using his legs to push. But I like the way he protects the ball through the contact zone. I like the way he bounces outside and finishes runs. He had the unfortunate fumble with the Stroud in the backfield on the big hit, but 9 rushes for 73 yards. He has been the most consistent part of the Bulldogs offense thus far.
Here's Luke. Don't let him get a full head of steam.
I'd like to see Luke put his foot in the ground and go up the field a little bit more in that situation. He had Chance Gamble, who's a long player, and he's not going to be able to get to the edge on Chance Gamble like that. He's got to force the issue a little bit more.
On the move are the Bulldogs. We are at the 2-minute timeout. They would love nothing more than to get another score on the board. What a shot. You know who would love this shot right here? Robert Smith.
Oh, yeah, he loves the moon.
Yeah, loves astrology, the moon and the stars. That's beautiful.
Well, you know, the moon controls the tides, and we're all made of water as well, Dan, so.
Are we going down this rabbit hole already?
No, I mean, you asked me about it. Trying to compare me to Robert Smith from The Cure.
2nd and 8 for the Bulldogs. Play action. E.J. Warner climbing the pocket, looking around. Nice job eluding traffic. E.J. Warner inside the 20-yard line. What a run.
Great run by E.J. Warner. And what happened last time, Dan, when he tried to climb the pocket? He climbed the pocket and made an errant throw and threw a pick. This time he climbs the pocket and makes the decision to tuck that ball, protect it, find space on the sideline, makes a cutback, and he's got his head on a swivel. Really well done by E.J. Warner, hopefully getting some confidence back at the quarterback position after a pretty rough first half.
A 25-yard gain for E.J. Warner using the wheels. Donaldson picks up 2 using his wheels. He hasn't had a good first half. 9 carries, 73 yards.
Yeah, the blemish of the fumble where they looked like they were going in to score a touchdown. But
somebody got a hat right on the football,
right
just
on
popped
the ball.
out.
But he has been a great in between the tackles guy to get you 2 or 3 yards when you need it, but he can also break it and bounce it to the outside. He's been very efficient. Got tape hanging all off him.
Looks like a ball player.
Yeah, he's rugged.
Four-man rush from Georgia Southern. Left side, Donaldson picks up 3, wrapped up by Brendan Harrington.
Well done by Harrington to get out there and make the tackle, but I thought it was a really nice job of concentrating and making that catch at the running back position. And watch Warner work his progression. He's on the right side, goes through the middle, comes all the way back to his back outlet on the back side, and makes a very accurate throw. Donaldson doing a good job going forward as he makes the catch.
Timeout by Georgia Southern. Let's check in with Mike Hill and find out what's coming up at halftime. Hey, Mike.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime, third-ranked Ohio State with a humbling day for Arch Manning in Texas, while number 8 Alabama upset on the road in Tallahassee. Ouch, Kalen DeBoer. Plus the top 10 showdown between LSU and Clemson. Dan and Petros, we will see you fellas at the break.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. As we see Clay Helton having a conversation with our lead referee, Christian Watson.
Also known as Big Arms Mountain West referee.
Yeah.
Clay Helton's looking pretty good, though. Clay Helton and Matt Entz looking spry in this game. And there's Big Arm ref. Look at Watson. Look at, he can't. I mean, they have got to make a custom. They spend the whole offseason sewing that jersey.
You have to order that special, right? I want the short sleeves.
Look at those triceps. See, Hockley had biceps, but he didn't have triceps like that. And your triceps are really a big percentage of the arm. And I'm glad to see that Watson has not ignored that.
How dare you disrespect Ed Hockley's triceps?
Hey, said what I said. I'm a Mountain West guy, okay? Never called an NFL game in my life.
My goodness. His son's going to come after you. 3rd and 6. Plenty of time left. 48 seconds here in the first half. Rayshon Luke in next to E.J. Warner. Warner surveying the field. Dumps it off to Luke. And he picks up 3.
Yeah, I think they were trying to get a little option route going with Rayshon Luke and get him the ball on the move. Unfortunately for him, it just wasn't there beyond just making the catch after he shows Warner his numbers. Harrington right on the spot, and that forces the 4th down, and this is a risk. This is feast or famine for Matt Entz's guys after the first half they've had. You look at the clock is ticking.
Yeah, they're just letting him run down here and gonna kick the field goal. Well, there is no question that if it were not for a few miscues, the Bulldogs could easily be leading this game. E.J. Warner came in with 13 games with 2 or more interceptions. The fumble by Donaldson inside the 5-yard line didn't help, and this is the 2nd interception of the game for Warner. So it is now 14 games as mom and dad are looking on, and man, that's hard.
Yeah, a lot to discuss at halftime. They're still very much in this game. You cannot get discouraged if you're Matt Entz and the Fresno State offense. They've put together some good drives. They've moved the ball well. They've run the ball well. But give Georgia Southern credit. That was a great interception by Chance Gamble and a great forced fumble that they forced on Donaldson. They've done some good things.
Chance Gamble, 8 career interceptions now. The field goal is up and good, so it's going to be a 1-point ball game going into halftime. Georgia Southern on top 14-13 in their first ever.
Able to move the ball, but can they minimize those mistakes, the 3 turnovers you talked about, Dan?
The second half now officially underway. Oh, ball bobbled in the end zone momentarily by Dalen Cobb. Gets it right back and out past the 20-yard line. That was a lucky bounce for him. How about Kayvon Thunderbird, man? Having a good first half. Coaches say they want him to start laying the wood a little bit more. Let's push some guys back when you tackle him, and that's exactly what he did in the first half here tonight. Kayvon Thunderbird making plays all over the field. Look at him running Dallas down.
Last week, sideline to sideline, it was really Jaden Pearson, the Utah State transfer. But tonight, it has been Thunderbird, the Arizona State transfer, with some of the eye-popping linebacker numbers.
Dalen Cobb here again on the jet sweep, and he is very close to, if not picking up the first down. And of course, it was Thunderbird that knocked him out of bounds after the game.
I like the way Ryan Applin is calling this game. Offensive coordinator for Georgia Southern. They're really getting the ball to the perimeter, then hitting on it on the inside, using different ball carriers, not just dedicated to O.J. Arnold, who's been pretty good in this game, but Josh Dallas, then getting it to the edge there with Cobb. Very impressive, and a lot of different guys touching the ball at the skill positions.
Keep it on the ground with Arnold on first down after that 12-yard gain by Cobb.
2 tackles right off the bat, 2 plays from Thunderbird. The sophomore transfer out of Chicago, Illinois, who came for Arizona State, has been very productive.
Played in 9 games last year for Arizona State, and he has been flying around like a man with his hair on fire tonight. 2nd and 7.
There he is again.
Arnold, Thunderbird.
Here he is. Watch him put the hit right on the small of the back, it looks like, of O.J. Arnold. Oof. And Arnold cannot escape the grasp. He does a great job of hanging on to those feet, using his fingers to finish the tackle, getting a little help from Simeon Harris.
Big 3rd down here to start the second half for J.C. French. David Bedinga in at running back. Lucky that wasn't picked off. Hit Thunderbird right in the hands. That's the first mistake he's made tonight.
He is doing it all, especially on this drive. Remember, they had a pick earlier on a tip that French had in the first half. This time, Thunderbird just dropping back into his zone, and French does not see him. Throws it right into his hands. Thunderbird angry, slamming his helmet, but they still force the punt. Nice flip of the field by the Bulldogs.
Alex Smith, the former pro tennis player, on to punt. Malaulu waves it off as it goes out of bounds. And Fresno State going to get a chance to potentially take the lead here early in the second half. It's been an up and down game for E.J. Warner.
Yeah, let's check his body language, his confidence, and see what he can do. They just need consistency from him. He makes some spectacular plays, but they cannot afford interceptions from that position, not in a game like this.
Good field position for Warner on first down. Again, flushed out of the pocket, using the legs, picks up 4. Shoestring tackle by Aiden Jackson. You know, the one thing, Pete, that they've done a lot better this week than they've done in the past is run the football. They have 3 different players with explosive runs. Warner had a 25-yard run early.
They've established Donaldson, which really is the most important thing, and they've shown the change-up speed of Rayshon Luke. This time Warner making decisive motions to run the ball, not hanging around and making bad decisions, throwing it late.
Keeping it on the ground with Luke. Hits the hole with the quickness. He's inside the 40. Don't blink, you're going to miss him.
And this is really the first time I've seen Speedy Luke play since high school. where he's getting the ball and you're starting to see how fast he is. I mean, on the couple runs he's had, including the touchdown, you could just see right through that hole the acceleration from this guy is different. And if he can just keep his feet and find a little more confidence running the ball between the tackles, he could hit some real home runs as the year goes on. That's a young man with very impressive speed, and it's starting to translate onto the football field.
Here's Luke again, cutting it back up inside, and again, it's a shoestring tackle from Aiden Jackson. You know, Fresno State really benefiting from that short punt, just an 18-yard punt by Georgia Southern, moving the ball nicely here on their first drive in the second half.
Like you said, there's no doubt that they've had their opportunities, and it's a close game, but Fresno State has really, Matt Entz knows it, left a lot on the table in the first half with the way they turned the ball over, especially while they were driving.
Second and 5, pressure coming from Warner, gets rid of it quickly, and Donaldson picks up the first down. Tyson shoves him out of bounds.
I like that from Warner, a lot more decisive. He sees his force guy go down. Donaldson's right there, available. Get it to him right now. Do not wait. Don't look downfield. Don't look for anything bigger. Make the throw that's there for you. Take what the defense has given you. He's spreading the wealth around. 14 completions to 7 different guys. Starting to look sharp like he did in that first drive.
Here's Donaldson again, has a hole, and he's inside the 20-yard line.
Chance Gamble flashed in the backfield, and he's had a great game. Nice long cornerback, but he just reached his arms out to grab Donaldson, and you're not going to make that tackle with an arm tackle. Donaldson ran right through it for 6 yards.
Fresno State averaging over 7 yards per carry tonight. 3 different players with explosive runs. And after 37 yards on 29 carries against Kansas, they already have over 150 yards on the ground. Donaldson again not able to get to the line to gain. Nice tackle by the linebacker, Brendan Harrington, the transfer from App State. Harrington at 24 years old, sorry, P, the second oldest player on the team, played 6 years at App State.
He was a captain there in Boone, and then comes over. That's a lot of leadership coming over for Coach Helton's team, and we've seen him make some good plays. He's also captain here at Georgia Southern. Hail Southern.
New tailback in the game for Fresno State. It's Brandon Ramirez on 3rd and 2. And it's Ramirez picking up the first down and then some, keeping his feet inside the 10-yard line. Nice job by Brandon Ramirez on his first carry of the game.
Yeah, the young man from Hanford, they say he gives wild effort when he gets the ball. He's their short yardage guy, gets a nice block on the inside from the center, Jacob Spomer. He kind of bullies his way down the field.
I think the exact phrase that offensive coordinator Josh Davis used was kamikaze effort.
It was. He did say kamikaze effort, but the young man did make it to the sideline. So.
Well, first and goal, a little miscommunication there in the backfield, but it does not slow down Bryson Donaldson. Runs into his old man, still finds the end zone. An 8-yard touchdown run for Donaldson puts Fresno State on top.
Yeah, he ran into the motion man, but it didn't matter. This Fresno State offensive line getting a really good push now. That was Rayshawn Luke coming across. So they had 2 running backs in the formation at the same time. Rayshawn Luke lined up in a wide receiver position. And finally, you can tell the frustration from Donaldson, the long runs. A lot of good things happening, and they're going for 2.
Oh, little end around, and Josiah Freeman. Give him 2.
Really well executed call by Josh Davis, the offensive coordinator. They get the run game going. They get their specific 2-point play called, and Fresno State takes control again in the second half.
Offensive coordinator Josh Davis said winning football is running the football. We're going to stay stubborn in that area. Well, stubbornness paying dividends for the Dogs here tonight. Fresno State on top 21-14 after an 8-play scoring drive capped by a Bryson Donaldson touchdown run. Remember, it was Donaldson who fumbled earlier inside the 5-yard line, and you could almost see the look of relief on his face on the sideline.
Yeah, a lot of frustration when you're moving the ball, but you go into the half down at home.
And Dalen Cobb about 5 yards deep in the end zone, going to bring this out.
Ill-advised.
Probably not a wise decision as he makes it to the 13-yard line. Next Saturday, the Cy-Hawk Series takes center stage. It all starts at 10 a.m. Eastern for the best pregame show in college football, live from the campus of Iowa State. Then Rocco Becht leads the Cyclones in a showdown against the arch-rival Iowa Hawkeyes on Big Noon Saturday, only on Fox. Well, our Saturday storylines are a little bit different than the last time I saw them, but understandably so. LSU beating number 4 Clemson, a little tiger-on-tiger crime. FSU upsetting Alabama. And it was a fun day of football that's not over yet, folks. This is Bedinga, met quickly by Marhadi Zepra.
Great play by Zepra, who really just stays home, fights off the block, and makes that play. There he is, number 9, getting outside, fighting the block of Amon Green, and then making the tackle. Nice start to the drive for Fresno State. And now Georgia Southern, a little bit desperate to answer.
French, quick pass. Taylor Bradshaw on the catch. Brings up third down.
Bradshaw, sophomore out of Jacksonville. Jaden Pearson, the speedy linebacker, catches up, creates a third and kind of manageable. See what French has in store here. And Ryan Applin, who's a very, very creative play caller.
It's Bedinga in the backfield. He releases. French has to tuck it and run because of the pressure. And Finn Claypool, who had a nice game against Kansas, makes the tackle and brings up fourth down.
Starting to see the Bulldogs fronts on defense and offense take control of the game. They're only rushing 4, and French has nowhere to go. Coming off his block when French pushes up in the pocket is the transfer from Drake. Had a sack versus Kansas. He's been getting in the backfield, does it again. Bulldogs starting to get control here.
He had a sack, a tackle for a loss, and 4 pressures versus Kansas did Claypool. And big hit coming in on Jordan Mulalu. Can't close your eyes, can't blink for 1 second because lead changes are happening in Fresno, my friends.
Fresno wrestling back control with the run game. Josh Davis told us, Dan, you said it, running the football is winning football. And we've seen him use a combination of backs. Speedy Luke, who really has lived up to that moniker, and their bell cow, the physicality and explosiveness down the field from Bryson Donaldson has taken this game by storm, and they come again. Great forward lean there.
When you look at the numbers, they're averaging more yards per rush than they are per catch, 7.5 to 6.6. And they've had great field position their last 4 possessions. Started on the 45, the 47, the 50, and now the 44. So they need to take advantage of the situation, which they certainly did on the last drive.
Donaldson turning these guys into catcher's mitts. Elo, the defensive lineman, just catching, and he's laying down on top of him, falling forward every time.
Warner, quick throw, right side. Looks to be just shy of the first down is Avit.
These plays are always interesting. Really what they are is sort of elongated triple options. You have the dive play, and then you have the quarterback running out to the side and then throwing it instead of pitching it out to the edge to create an attack on the perimeter. Pretty well defended by Georgia Southern in that regard.
Brandon Ramirez, the big back, in the game for Fresno State on 3rd and 1. Here's Ramirez.
Wow.
Head down, first down.
That is a guy with very little regard.
How would you describe the running style?
Well, this reminds me of a certain short yardage back that I used to know, but check him out there. Both hands on the ball, head down, face right into the chest of a big defensive lineman. You see Brandon Tyson filling that hole aggressively, but not as aggressive as the young man out of Hanford. Love his style between him and Luke and Donaldson. We've even seen some Gillian. They're starting to run the ball.
Warner checking downfield, almost hauled in by Richie Anderson. It was a great throw by Warner. Anderson just couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, maybe if he had a little bit more of a wide receiver body, he could have gone up and gotten that. 6'4", 255. Warner leads him pretty well, and that's just right outside the grasp. Catchable ball, no doubt, but I'm sure Warner would have wanted it a little closer to the numbers. And there's Kurt.
Looking on, and nothing is more nerve-wracking than watching your own kid, especially on a stage like this. 2nd and 10. Pressure coming off the edge. Warner quickly gets rid of it. And Farrar does a nice job, second effort, picking up the first down. He was stopped about a yard shy of the line to gain.
That gets it out to Farrar. Junior transfer from Long Branch, New Jersey. Came from Riverside Community College, Ventura Community College. But I like what Warner's doing here. He's been much more decisive throwing the ball this half. Not waiting around, making the decisions, getting the ball out, or tucking it and running. And a lot of that is due to the fact that the Fresno State run game has really gotten going, and they're finding good balance now.
Keeping it on the ground here with Donaldson, cuts it back up inside, and he picks up another first down for the Bulldogs.
And they are eating clock and starting to dominate this game. Just getting a really good push again. Jacob Spomer, the captain center, who has been the leader on the offensive line, getting a lot of good push down the field. And Donaldson, for a hot night, not getting very tired. Matt Entz loves this back and thinks he can really develop into something special this year, and we're seeing it.
So they marked it just shy of the first down, brings up 2nd and 1. Low snap to Warner. Flushed out of the pocket to his left. And Donaldson has to go behind him. Nice job by the running back to haul that, bring that in, and pick up the first down.
No doubt, Dan. I've been impressed with Donaldson's ability, not just running the ball between the tackles, but he's done a great job being there as an outlet for Warner. We saw a little bit in the Kansas game last week, a lot more this week. He's out on the perimeter, making some good catches, and then getting the ball upfield. Speedy Luke back in the game.
Ball on the 19. Fresh set of downs for Fresno State. Luke spinning off a tackle, and then he's driven back about 3 yards.
Now, earlier in the game, the Fresno State pullers were not getting to their blocks. This time you see the pullers pulling around. That's Fauna and Richie Anderson making the blocks, getting home, and that enables Luke to get into the line of scrimmage and exploit those holes and get that speed going.
Luke stays in the game on 2nd and 3. Fresno working out of the pistol. Play clock at 4. Here's Luke. Head down, breaks a tackle. Rayshon Luke, touchdown. "12-yard touchdown run for Luke, his 2nd score of the game."
And it's not just Donaldson who's been the hammer for Josh Davis's offense tonight. Luke showing some ability to lower that head, like you said, Dan. and make some plays. He runs right through the grasp of a defensive lineman. That's Elo on his way to the end zone. Very impressive running from the 5'9", 180-pound former high school superstar running back.
Ran right through that tackle. Elo, who outweighed him by 100 pounds. Rayshawn Luke getting big. Fresno State has had outstanding field position each of their last 4 drives, and they've converted the last 2 into touchdowns. Now they have a 14-point lead over the visiting Georgia Southern Eagles, who are trying to find a way to get that mojo back that they had in the first half.
Clay Helton trying to motivate that team. They didn't just get turnovers against Fresno State. They forced some turnovers, made some great plays against the Fresno offense. But right now they're being dominated on the line of scrimmage on both sides. And I think that's what's concerning Coach Helton.
Dalen Cobb at the 4-yard line, going to bring this one out past the 20, spins out to the 27-yard line, and it is that time again. I know everybody around the nation has anxiously been waiting for Petros Predicts the Future, because it went so well last night we had to do it again.
You know, you didn't have to say that.
What do you mean?
Everybody thought Arch Manning was going to do great. Rocco backed. Rocco rolls the Cyhawk. Joel Klatt's favorite game. He's going to be there to see it. Julian Sand, Super Sand for you Dragon Ball Z types. Carlsbad, California keeps it going, and eat your Venables. I think Oklahoma and Coach Venables are going to feast on the Wolverines.
Oh, wow. Big prediction and big run here from David Badinga. Flag down, however.
Yeah, this has kind of been the story of the second half for Georgia Southern. Adversity.
Holding. Offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty. They made first down.
They got Johnny Brown, the tackle, who's starting because Robert Wright, the normal starting tackle, has an ankle. He's a guy with NFL potential, but he was not likely to play. Johnny Brown, who's a junior, started his career at Miami. Flag for that.
So now Georgia Southern looking at 1st and 20 after the penalty. Giving it to Badinga again, and does a nice job getting most of that back to set up 2nd down and slightly more manageable. So Georgia Southern had tempo and had pace earlier, and they're not doing that as much here in the second half. I wonder if maybe that's part of the issue, because they were clicking.
They just haven't got that momentum going here in the second half. Fresno State's front has a lot to do with that, not to mention Thunderbird has been everywhere.
Another blitz from Fresno State. Nice pass and catch. Dalen Cobb climbs the ladder to get that one, and that's going to be a first down for the Eagles.
Yeah, their third corner, Jamarion Briggs, there up against Cobb. Recognizing the blitz, they pick up the blitz. French gets the ball out, and that's more of the on-time nature of this Eagles offense that we saw in the first half, like you just mentioned, Dan.
I haven't heard from Josh Dallas in a while.
No.
Very active in the first half. A little bit behind Dalen Cobb was that throw, and he paid the price, taking a lick in the process.
Yeah, it looked like Thunderbird slapped that one at the line of scrimmage. We were just talking about it. He is everywhere. There he is coming across, wearing number 10. Reads that and gets his hand on the ball. Still almost catchable for Cobb, who takes a hit in the kidneys from Tierney.
Oh, a little fake pass and end around. Here's Cobb. Nice open field tackle by Jaden Pearson.
That's right, and a good job staying home by the end pass rusher Corey Foreman, who started his career at USC. He did a good job of bending that play back in so Pearson could make it. And here's a 3rd and long situation for Georgia Southern.
Talked about Josh Dallas. He had 7 touches in the first half, 0 in the second. So perhaps after this break, we could be seeing a little Josh Dallas. You never know. Oh, smiles back on the faces of the student section and the fans here. Fresno State on top by 14. And the defense looking to make a stand here on 3rd and 10. It's going to be interesting to see if Nick Benedetto decides to bring the pressure. Almost picked off, broken up by A.Z. Hamilton. Excellent play by the senior from Hayward, California.
Yeah, they don't pick on him very much because he really is the closest thing I think the Mountain West has to a lockdown corner. French tries to get him with Camden Brown, who had a good first half. Nothing happening there. 4th and 10, and Georgia Southern is in trouble at the beginning of the 4th quarter.
This defense has really been playing well for Fresno State here the last few possessions. Malauulu with the fair catch at the 11-yard line. You know, we were talking about the big running back Ramirez, how he reminded us of somebody else who may have worn a USC uniform at some point. Look at that. Look at that running style. There he is. There's the old P.
Oh, yeah, almost exactly the same, right?
100%. It's like you.
Why do you guys do this?
16 rushing touchdowns. It's like you're running so hard that the tread is going to fall off of your cleats after 20 yards.
I was not a well-adjusted young person. And now I'm not a well-adjusted middle-aged person.
So nothing's changed.
But I love watching him run. I love a short yardage back, and I love the anger and the fury of short yardage. The moment of truth.
So here's the polar opposite. Bryson Donaldson out to the 30-yard line as they're trying to rip that ball out.
I mean, he is doing everything. And look at Spomer, the center. Look at that push that Spomer, 69, is getting. That is a giant chasm in the middle of the field for Donaldson to exploit, and he knows exactly what to do. This is not going to be a competitive quarter if that guy is going to be able to do that. Jacob Spomer out of Brentwood, California, has been great in the second half here.
125 yards in the game for Donaldson after that 20-yard gain. He is approaching a career high. And you can add 2 more yards onto that total. And Spomer and this whole crew, man, they are really opening up some holes here tonight. 231 rushing yards for Fresno State.
Yeah, relatively new offensive line, but Spomer really is the anchor in there. They have a freshman they really like in Braden Walton, who's cutting his teeth as a young man out there at left tackle. And I got to say, what did Matt Entz tell these guys at halftime?
Whatever it was, it worked. And here's another big gain. Bryson Donaldson. The career high is 140 yards, and he's getting really close to that.
And that's the tackle we were just talking about. Braden Walton making a nice block on the edge. And I really like Donaldson's ability, not just to take it inside, but he takes the right angle on the outside and really curves it up vertically. There's Walton out of Clovis, young and composed guy, getting a lot of experience. Great size, 6'7", 325.
Warner with a man over the middle. Jayon Farrar does a nice job holding on to that ball after the contact. Another first down for Fresno State.
They get Warner on the move. He's moving and throwing to a receiver who's moving with him. And he gets it to Farrar right before the safety can knock that ball out. He's looked sharper here in the second half with help from his run game. Farrar's been pretty good. They've been spreading the ball to a lot of different receivers.
Yeah, that's one thing that Warner does really well. And there is an open man again. Malauulu.
Yeah, he's a jack of all trades. We've seen him in the return game. Young man out of Long Beach Poly, the Jackrabbits, with his Jackrabbit style.
Yeah, Polly just turns him out. That's an 18-yard gain for Malauulu.
Most famous player ever from Long Beach, Poly.
I was going to say Deshaun Jackson, but there has to be somebody that's...
Deshaun Jackson's good. Willie McGinnis, Hall of Famer.
Well, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, Deshaun Jackson's a good call, you know. Winston Justice, guys, remember guys like that? Herschel Dennis.
A lot of baseball players, too, I would imagine.
Donaldson again, he's out of Visalia.
So Donaldson at 139 yards. His career high was last year against Colorado State. 140 yards on 12 carries. So he had to work a little bit harder tonight.
He did, but man, this run game, this offensive line, and the D-line on the other side, in the heat, in the valley, choking the life out of the Georgia Southern Eagles. They're not liking this in Statesboro. Look at those rushing yards.
245, rolling Fullwood on that right side, helping open up a hole here for Donaldson. And Donaldson inside the 5-yard line, and Georgia Southern can't slow down this Fresno State run game. This one goes for 20.
Look at him cut back there. That is just dominance. Rolling Fullwood, like you said, getting that great push when the zone is supposed to go one way, but if you're getting such a good push, that cutback is there, and he cuts it all the way back, switches the ball for security when he has the time to do it, and he's got a career high rushing now. Great job by Donaldson, taking over the second half.
We've been talking about him getting close, and then he just blew right past it with 159 yards.
And look who's in, Ramirez.
Petros Jr. Touchdown! Brandon Ramirez. Well, that was a no-doubter.
Great feelings on the offensive line and the backfield. Again, just really well-executed runs. We did not see these pullers getting around and making their blocks like they're doing now. That was tar water leading through from the tight end position for Brandon Ramirez.
Sophomore from Hanford, California, with his first career touchdown.
Hopefully I didn't spoil the call by calling him Petros Jr. on the front end. We can just clip that. The Bulldogs are rolling. This is what they expected on their home turf. Their brand new home turf. (35-14), Fresno State on top of Georgia Southern,
And they just have been suffocating them in the second half. What a home debut it's been for Matt Entz. He was at North Dakota State 2019 to 23. First Division I coach to go 16-0 in 19. Won a couple of FCS national championships in 5 seasons. Decided he needed a change, wanted to move on, wanted to go somewhere different, something different. And he was on Lincoln Riley's staff at USC last year, learned a lot, but said he also learned that he wanted to be a head coach again. And when this Fresno State job came open, he jumped all over it. And so far, it's been a great fit. Listen, it wasn't perfect on the road at Kansas. No. I think we're going to realize that the Jayhawks are a really good football team. They had some self-inflicted wounds there, but this is how you have to rebound after a game like that. Matt Entz has to be pleased, and we're going to be back right after this. Matt Entz, one of 4 new coaches in the Mountain West.
Look at those guys.
Mullen, Mendenhall, and Eck.
Entz got the tactical glasses on there. And Mullen, great mouthpiece on that guy. Mendenhall, very professorial. And Eck, an old O-lineman from Wisconsin, kind of like Bielema. But I love Entz. I love his style. Looks like he chews rocks, but he's a great football communicator, and guys love playing for him.
Well, he is a heck of a football coach. Here's French sliding down at the 30-yard line, and wise decision as Kayvon Thunderbird was coming after him. Second and 6 for French. Quick pass, and it's dropped. That was the tight end, Amon Green. The other Amon Green.
Yeah, they just don't seem to be on the same page in the same way that they were earlier in the game. As you mentioned, Dan, they don't have their tempo going. We haven't seen O.J. Arnold in some time. A lot of their playmakers, Josh Dallas, we haven't seen much from him, and he was very prevalent making plays in the first half. It's really kind of all been on the arm of French.
Pressure coming. French lets it go up the left side, looking for Dalen Cobb. It was a pretty good throw, but the defense was tight.
Yeah,
it was a little number one on number one crime there. Jakari Embry right in Cobb's face the whole way.
Embry, a guy that started his career at Golden West Junior College. He's playing on the other side of Hamilton, so if you're going to try to pick on one of them, probably want to try to pick on Embry. Nice position for that ball. Stretching out for it was Cobb, but just too much harassment there from Embry, and the Eagles got to punt it again.
So we've seen Alex Smith a handful of times tonight. Meanwhile, Fresno State hasn't punted once the entire game. Fair catch called for at the 30-yard line. Cooled off just a bit from the 100-degree temperatures at kickoff. Everything looking good in Fresno State right now. Everybody happy here in Fresno. You know, head coach Matt Entz transitioning from a hurry-up offense with mostly kind of wide zone runs to a power running game here. And he's putting up the same type of rushing numbers, at least tonight, that he did at North Dakota State when they were running all over everybody. 268 yards, dwarfs what they did against Kansas when they went for 37 yards on 29 carries. And
they had a similar problem early in this game as they did against Kansas, a lack of consistency and sustained drives. But those problems have gone away here in the second half. Look at that push.
Bryson Donaldson has been awesome tonight. All up the middle, busting it outside, breaking tackles, and doing this after that fumble inside the 5-yard line. He was upset about that, and he bounced back to perfection.
It's really what you like to see in a football game, right? You like to see a guy face some adversity and then overcome that adversity. You could say that about Donaldson. You could say it about E.J. Warner. From the first half to the second half, the whole offense has picked him up. As an offense and as a team, it looks like Fresno State and Matt Entz have really overcome the adversity they faced in the first half.
Warner with the quick pass, and Brandon Ramirez showing the wheels and the hands after that touchdown on the last drive.
Ramirez is starting to become a feature back, catching balls in the flat and taking it down the field, and he's got the ball in one arm. I mean, might as well just be holding it in one hand, like Walter Payton. Look at that.
And that looked like that was a play that was designed for Ramirez.
It sure did, and they got all their running backs going. The only guy we've only seen a little bit is the Bishop Gorman star, Elijah Gilliam. Everybody else has been feasting.
Donaldson checking back in, operating out of the pistol behind Warner. Here's Donaldson, another huge hole. He cuts it back up inside into traffic. Brings up second down after a gain of 4.
Well, it's hot. You're on the West Coast. You're going to be on the West Coast for a week. And look what's happening to you if you're Georgia Southern. Watch Tarwater pull around and just punish this second level of the defense. That's Harrington, the linebacker, just on skates, just like the rest of the Eagles defense in this second half. Big, strong blocking from Fresno and a lot of aggression. It comes again.
Picks up about a yard on 2nd and 6, does Rayshawn Luke.
And that aggression has led to explosive plays. Georgia Southern with a few, but Fresno with 10 plays of 15+ yards. They've come from a few different guys, but mostly the backfield, which has been very impressive. And you got to credit that whole offensive line and all 3 tight ends who are doing a great job pulling around and blocking, basically playing the role of a fullback in a very physical offense. I know Matt Entz, very, very prevalent with a fullback at North Dakota State. Here they're doing a little bit differently with 3 tight ends.
3rd and 5. Let's see if they can get an explosive play here. And indeed they do. Rayshawn Luke doing a little bit of housework here in the 4th. And we do have a flag down. A late flag. Let's see what it's for.
Man, he is fast. He really is. It's a pleasure to watch him run in the open field because we just haven't seen it at the college level very much. Just didn't see it much at Arizona, and they're excited for him on the sideline. Still got to see what that flag is for, but he's had a great breakout night. Let's see what Watson has to say here. Strong arms of the law.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Georgia Southern, number 5. That 15-yard penalty enforced on the kickoff. Touchdown, Fresno State.
So Rayshawn Luke ran for 271 yards and 1 touchdown over 3 years at Arizona. Played 24 games, and tonight Speedy has almost 100 yards and 3 touchdowns on 10 touches.
Great to see him in the open field, and what a nice changeup from what Donaldson can do, and Ramirez as well. You're getting punished by those guys, and all of a sudden Luke is running by you. That's great.
Extra point is good. 42-14. Speedy showing the wheels once again. It's a 3-touchdown night for Rayshawn Luke. Little stiff arm, and then just jogged it into the zone. Well, this basically tells a story. 29-0 in the second half. Fresno State has outscored Georgia Southern, due primarily to the work they've been putting in on the ground. 181 rushing yards on the ground. Rayshawn Luke, 96 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has had a career game as the Arizona transfer. He has been absolutely outstanding. He's the first player with 3 rushing touchdowns in a game since Malik Sherrod in 2023 at Utah State. And oh, by the way, the last time that Fresno State had 5 rushing touchdowns, 2019, so it's been a minute.
I think Fresno really repurposed themselves in the second half to dominate at the line of scrimmage. I think Matt Entz saw that they had advantages on the defensive and offensive line. We have some fighting here at the end of the play. But I think he saw that they could be the more aggressive team at home in this heat and overcome the mistakes that they made. And man, have they ever. They saw an advantage at the line of scrimmage, and they've exploited it on both sides.
Well, normally after a game like this, you just...
Sportsmanlike conduct, Georgia Southern, number 15. That's half the distance to the goal. First down.
Here's the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Yeah, a lot of pushing and shoving. And then, yeah, just pushing Embry off the tackle.
Well, normally after...
Could have been worse.
After a game like this, if you're Clay Helton and the team, you just want to get home, right? You want to get back to Statesboro, Georgia. They're not going home for a while.
No.
They're going to be in California for 9 days.
They're going to Oxnard. It's going to be Nardcore. They're going to spend like 7 days in Oxnard at the Dallas Cowboys training facility. If they didn't get there, they were going to have to go to California Lutheran in Thousand Oaks. A lot of these guys have never been to the West Coast, and then Clay Helton's going to take them into his old home, the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. USC dominating Missouri State today at home in Lincoln Riley's season debut for 2025.
Georgia Southern does not have an easy road this year. You mentioned it, at SC next week. Then they take on Jacksonville State, Maine, a very good James Madison football team. And there are those in the Mountain West Conference who may not be overly familiar with the Sun Belt, as French zips it in. And
everybody loves the Fun Belt.
But look, I'll tell you what, man. You got App State, Coastal Carolina, JMU, Marshall,
a lot of good football.
Texas State.
No doubt. I mean, it's Mountain West-esque. And remember, Clay Helton's team 6-2 in conference last year, very close to making the conference championship game. And they will be competitive again. You see all the different weapons that they have and the creativity on offense and defense. They just got dominated at the line of scrimmage in a tough situation tonight. It reminds me a little bit of Boise State going down to South Florida. Very hot, tough situation. Face some adversity early, and your team just kind of wilts in the weather. And that seems to be what has happened to Georgia Southern here. But I see this team being able to recover themselves as the season goes on.
French with a clean pocket over the middle. And slow to get up is River Helms. It looks like he's holding on to that right elbow.
Yeah, he fell on that elbow a little awkwardly. Maybe the shoulder.
You know, Clay Helton's been, here's another look at the play.
Yeah, he took a hit on that shoulder and then goes down.
On the same shoulder. So Helms is getting that checked out. Clay Helton said he's been coaching 31 years, and this is the most mature team he thinks that he may have ever had. So there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to bounce back at some point this season. Maybe not next week against SC, but
will be interesting to see him back on the sideline at USC. So many people thought USC football was kind of saved when Lincoln Riley was hired, but you look at the numbers, and Clay Helton and Lincoln Riley have been very similar as the head coach at USC. And Helton winning a Rose Bowl, winning a Pac-12 title the very next year. Some lean years in between, but one could argue that since the Pete Carroll era, has USC really operated or been like a blue blood in college football? Not really.
Now Helton spent portions of 8 seasons there as the head coach. 6 full seasons. Had a couple of games as an interim head coach and 3 or 4 games into that final season when he was let go, and he has found a new home at Georgia Southern. He's breathed some new life into this program, and they certainly haven't performed up to expectations out here. I believe they were technically the favorite coming into this game. And we have a couple of guys for Fresno State who have just absolutely dropped the hammer on them. And we do have a new backup quarterback in there, Carson Conklin, and Elijah Gilliam is in at running back. Let's see what he can do as he breaks a couple of tackles and moves the pile forward. But how about these numbers for Donaldson and Luke? Both career highs, 167 yards for Bryson. Rayshon chipping in 3 touchdowns and 96 yards. You could throw him back in there just to get him over the 100-yard mark, maybe.
They all got the same haircut, it looks like, in the running back room as well. Carson Conklin out of Yorba Linda, California. Sacramento State transfer, Corona Centennial High School, one of the great high schools in Southern California, putting out talent.
Here's Gilliam with some room to run. He takes the ball into plus territory. And they are just running all over this Georgia Southern defense right now.
And look at those lead blocks. You don't have a career night as a running back. You don't have 2 running backs with a career night. And you could argue it's been a career night for Ramirez as well, scoring his first touchdown, catching a ball. Now Gilliam getting loose. You can't have a career night for all those backs if your offensive line is not having a career night. And add those 3 tight ends in as well. They have just really started to dominate and enforce their will as this game has gone on.
Jonathan Arsenault taking his turn and picking up a few yards. And what a tremendous bounce back performance for the Bulldogs after going on the road at Kansas and looking really good on their first drive and probably puffing out their chests and feeling pretty good. And then the walls just came crashing down. E.J. Warner had 3 turnovers. Things weren't going right on either side of the ball. But Matt Entz rallied the troops. He was asked during the week what he was going to change. He said, I'm not going to change anything. Absolutely nothing. We're going to do what we practice to do. And they have put on a performance here tonight, especially in the second half, in which they have outscored Georgia Southern 29-0.
And, you know, it looked like they maybe made some changes when they started the game out.
It was a little different than we expected, right?
And then they got back to their bread and butter of running the football. But I think you're right. You know, they had some moments of momentum, and you're playing a team like Kansas, and they had their new stadium opening. Kansas is very good with a great experienced quarterback in Daniels. And I think what happened was it just got on top of them after a couple mistakes. This is much more indicative of who they are.
Well, and let's not forget, they also overcame 3 turnovers in this game. And they have absolutely answered the call here at home in their home opener. They keep racking up the rushing yards, 347 yards on the ground for the Bulldogs, the most since 2014 when they had 389 yards on the ground.
Oh, Pat Hill's mustache is so strong right now.
This is Elijah Gilliam, who's getting a bite at the apple here tonight. He ripped off a 25-yard run earlier. Pretty good average yards per carry. He's averaging about 10 yards per carry. That was his 3rd of the game.
Matt Entz looks like he wants more, doesn't he? He looks exactly the same as he did in the first half.
Here's a look what's coming up for Fresno State.
At Oregon State, winnable game. Southern Utah. They put up a lot of rushing numbers against them in 2014. Timmy Chang's team in Hawaii is very interesting. And I really like Coach Choate at Nevada, even though they took it on the chin today in Happy Valley.
Fresno State in the preseason poll picked to finish what, 5th, 6th in the Mountain West. It's going to be competitive this year. I mean, Boise clearly not maybe what they were last year with Ashton Genty, so maybe a little more wide open.
Yeah, I do think Boise's going to bounce back and be Boise as the year goes on. UNLV is interesting now that Barry Odom has moved on and Mullen is there. Kid Niumatalolo at San Jose State has been really impressive, and Norvell knows what he's doing with quarterback experience at Colorado State. But with this run game, the Bulldogs, they got something going.
Bryson Donaldson with a career game. Rayshawn Luke with a career game. And Matt Entz with his first win as the head coach at Fresno State. Playing on their home turf, their brand new home turf for the first time. What a performance by the Bulldogs, a bounce back performance after they come back from 3 turnovers to seal the deal.
Not surprised to see Matt Entz have a team exploit the run and dominate running the ball. And as far as Clay Helton goes, he's had success at Georgia Southern. Going to be very interesting to see him back on the sideline at the LA Coliseum, as he's talking to a lot of guys on the West Coast that he knows from yesteryear.
What a night it has been for our producer, Max Linewan, Derek Manning, Andy Kavanaugh, Brett Elder, Travis Garland, Joe Sullivan coming in from Rhode Island to help us out with the stats. RJ Hazen, our spotter, the great Petros Papadakis. I'm Dan Helly. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're a Bulldog, you're happy.